Good evening, everybody in here and everybody online. My name is Victoria. You've got with you Yin here, who is our RxOne extraordinaire, and we've got Jenny, who's just leading in a few of the people who've been called and track back here in Auckland. I hope you guys have all had a good day. We're just going to get straight into it, which is your RxOne Advanced Training. So we've got a few things. We did a little bit of a poll online to see what you guys were interested in doing. I apologise if it is something that you already know. You never know, there might be a tip or trick or something that you pick up. Please don't hesitate to ask questions throughout. The whole point of this webinar is to learn, is for us to help you guys out in your daily tool. Likewise, I know that Jenny will be monitoring questions coming through, so we'll be happy to pass those on to Yin, and she'll answer those in due course. So I'll hand over to Yin, and yeah, enjoy.
Right, hi everyone. I hope you can all hear me well online. So there are a few topics we're going to cover tonight is the bulk copy prescriptions, and we're going to go through a little bit of an ordering as well. Right, so basically the bulk copy, it's very useful for processing a RxOne cycle. Well, not technically that you need to, do a RxOne prescription, but if you have a group of like your regular patients that on weekly packs or monthly packs, you can create a care facility, what we call in our system, and allocate those patients in there, and they will run. You can run a cycle for all foils. Right. So once you set up your RxOne care facility and you add patients into this group, you can now bulk process prescription. And to do that, it's in your dispensary screen, file, and bulk copy. So then you can select which RxOne you want to process prescription for. I will just select one, go OK. It's going to load out the screen. So on the top left-hand corner, going to be the list of all the patients that you added into that RxOne. You can also add more patients from here as well. So I'm going to add another patient in. Right, so now I have 4 patients in that RxOne. Once you select a patient, just underneath it will be the dispensing history for that patient. So from here, you can highlight and select the prescription you want to add into the cycle, because you only want to add regular medicine that you're going to process regularly, and leave out the PA and stuff. So just highlight them and click Add down here, and those scripts will be added into the right-hand side screen. So on the script on the right-hand side will be the one that's going to be processed. So if I go into the last patient that I just added now, so I can highlight the latest dispensing, these regular meds, and edit them. So they don't need to be a foil for it to be in the cycle. It can just be regular prescription with repeat. Right, so you see that those scripts are added into the left-hand side screen. From here, if a medication was stopped, I can also highlight and click Remove down the left, bottom left, to remove it out of the cycle. So once you set that up, you can just go Save without Copy. Copy in here means actually copy all those scripts, means processing them. So you can save the setting and do it another day if you have to go do something else, or you can just highlight whatever you want to dispense and click Copy Selected. What it's going to do is going to dispense the repeat for the script that you highlight. Or when you go Copy All, it's going to process all of these scripts. So for those that got repeat, the system will process the repeat for that. For those that doesn't have repeat left, it will generate a phone script automatically. Okay, so be careful with this function because it will automatically run the whole cycle for you. Here, there's a little option here, the don't review script when copying. When you tick this option, it means that the screen not going to come up, the dispensing screen not going to come up, and you have to click Finish for it to process the prescription. It will just run by itself. You don't have to sit there and click Enter in every single script to OK for it to dispense. So once that process is all done, the bulk print button is where you can print all the foils or labels or signing sheet for all the script that we process in that cycle. Right. Another thing down here, you can see that at the bottom, the change dispense date. You can set a different dispense date from today, because if you click process, it will use today's date as a dispense date. But if for some reason you just want to prepare it for next week, you can change the dispense date to the 16th of March, and all those script will be processed with the date as 16th of March, and they will not be included into the current batch. Okay. Right. So the other thing in the window up here, you can also print the script listing. So this will print out the list of medication. Let's say that one. Okay, because I don't set a printer in here, so my one save as a file on the computer. But in your practice, it will print out for you. And this is what it's going to look like. So basically, the list of on the script that you process on that day for your record or for your checking purpose or something like that. Right. So that's the one. Another related thing with the, like I mentioned before, all the script without repeat, the system will create a form script for these. Then you can run a report for firm prescription. So you can have a record that way as well. Because for some rest home, I think doctor prefer to have a list of on the script for that facility, and they just sign it. They don't want single individual script per patient, because I think rest home they have that policy. So you can print go report, and that it's a bulk form script report. Easier to find it here. Sometimes I don't remember where they. So this report, you can select the period that you want to print the form script report for, and you can select the care facility that you want to print for as well. Say I just processed Disney Rest Home today, and I know there's some script that the system generates form script for it. I would just want to print the one for that. And then you just go okay, and it's come out with, it's gonna generate a report for all the script that is actually form script, and you need doctors to sign to approve that. From the report, basically on RxOne report, you can directly print it out, or you can click export, and from here you can save into your computer, or you can email it away to the medical center if you need to. So just if you just save it, then just export the entire report. Or if you want to email, just under the to email section, you can email it as PDF or Excel format, and then you just type in the email address you're gonna send it to, and it will send the email report away directly from the system. Okay. Okay. Do we have any question regarding bulk process script?
Does the data dispense change the start date of the blister pack?
No, the date dispense is basically the date you process that prescription. The start date will be carried, the start date of that pack will be carried on from the previous pack, because that's how RxOne works. It will use the previous pack end date, and then it makes the start date carry on. Yeah. Okay. You have any other question regarding? So basically, both form script, once you set it up correctly, it's just a few steps initially to set it up, but once it's set up correctly, it's very quick to use, and that saves you a lot of time, because you can, if you have like a lot of blister pack to do every month or every week, or you have RxOne to process. You can leave one computer process the work, and then you carry on do other things. Yeah. Okay. Do we have any question online for the bulk phone script? Ginny? Do we have any question online for the bulk phone script? No? Okay. Right, I will move on to ordering. Okay, order. So you all probably know how to generate your general order from your main supplier anyway. It's just a few little things that we got asked through the support team. Right, so we have, in your system, you will have suppliers that you send the order electronically. So those that got web services as main wholesaler like CDC, PWL, Pharma. You will have some supplier that you send order to their email. And maybe some supplier that you just create, you order through the rep and then you create order manually and deliver them and stuff. So under supplier settings, just find CDC. Say for CDC, because CDC have a web service for ordering, and we normally set these up for you because they're main wholesaler, so the order can be sent electronically. For other supplier like, say CS company or something like that, if you can check with the rep if they have an email address that you can send order to, so you can generate an order in the next one. Because when you generate order in the next one, it will pick up the stock that you sold out, or it use the figure, the sale figures in the history of that stock card to generate a quantity for you. You can just email the company that one, and they will pack the stock and send for you. And instead of print it out and fax it away or email it away like manually, you can email directly through the system. And to set that up, basically, it's when you tick send order via email and then enter in their email address. Make sure for that supply you have the header code set correctly. This is your account number. Right, okay, so the one that I want to show you today is when we go and create an order. Okay, so I'm sure most of you know, like, just select the supplier and then go general wholesale order or blank order, and then you type in whatever stock you want. But there's a few fields down here that you can set. Say on a dispensary computer, that where you normally do your dispensing order, and CDC, like you order both your dispensing and point of sale stock through CDC, and you want to separate them, you can just go, like on the dispensary computer, select the supplier CDC and the stock type to order as dispensary. And when you go onto here, file, save this as default order setting. So whenever you go on that particular computer and create a new order, this setting will come up. So you don't have to each time select a different, set it again. Right, so that's because a lot of pharmacy, we know that they do dispensary order in dispensary and shop order in the shop computer. So you can set it like that to save time, basically. Right. Now so basically general wholesaler, that's we'll do 30 days. Direct order, we had some pharmacy, they do, they want to set that as like, because they do order twice a week, so they want to set the quantity as half a week each time, because they don't want to order it in a lot. So you can use the direct order and set that as well. Other order is the credit order, is where you take stock out of your database and return it to supplier. For credit order, basically, you will have to do it manually, because for the electronic order, it doesn't work for credit order. So credit order, select credit order type and go OK. It will just open a blank order and you've got to insert in your stock that you want to return. Just make an example. Right. So if I type in 4 here, you don't actually have to type -4. If you just type 4, it still read as -4 because the system understands this as a credit order. Right. So for this type of credit order, you then can print this out and include and pack it together with your stock and send it away. So that's another way. When the supplier unpacks the stuff, they actually have the list of what you return. So once you done that, you just go OK, save, and you will see the state as packing credit, which this now hasn't been, the stock hasn't been taken out of your database yet because you hasn't actually confirmed it. Normally you wait until you actually got the credit from the supplier. Then at this date, you will go and change it to acknowledge. And we will deliver that to take 4 out of your stock. Now when I go check that stock count, right, this is just a credited file for that bill. Okay, when you check that stock, you will see that it's been returned. The additional information. Yeah. So you will see that I returned to CDC 4. Right. So I will go to another one, which is a transfer in and transfer out order. If you have like another branch of your pharmacy or another pharmacy that you normally getting stock from quite often, you can set them up in your system as a supplier. So what I did before, I set up as RxOne pharmacy, say I'm gonna be exchange stock quite a bit with this pharmacy. I'll set them up as a supplier. Yeah, so to do that, you go into supplier setting, you go new, and then you'll be able to create a new supplier. I'll just show you what I got here. So you type the supplier name will be the pharmacy name that you're going to transfer stock in and out from, and their address, and from I click prompt for account. So on the transfer in and out, it will generate an invoice because there will be costs for those, and it will charge into an account for this pharmacy. In this one, I use the option send order and the email, and I put Victoria's email in here. Okay, so that basically just that setting for it. The next one you will have to do is to go to your debtors and create an account for that pharmacy. So you're gonna charge the invoice into the account, and then you send the bill out each month. Pharmacy account. So create an account for them. Details. From here, this is account details. It's basically the same as on the other, your patient's account or your DHB accounts, anything like that. The email address here, if you can choose to send the monthly statement through email. So just tick the email statement, enter in the email address that you're going to send the statement to. So say you're printing out and then post it away. Probably won't do it here. So, right. Now, once that's set up, I want to transfer stock to RxOne Pharmacy. I will go. So I go create an order. I'll just click add in here. I want to transfer stock to this pharmacy. I will select the order type as transfer out. The order option down here is basically add answer back and out stock item. We can untick them. That's fine. Go okay. Right, now it's going to generate a blank order. So I want to transfer mass. And some, that's what coming. Right. What did I do? Transfer 6 to them. Okay. Right, because I had them set up as send order through email. From here, I just click the transfer button. Yes. The system will create a file. And email that file to RxOne Pharmacy. Then RxOne Pharmacy can just load that file onto their database without actually typing in every single item one by one. Okay, so once I transfer the stock out, it won't actually want me to charge the invoice into an account. So because I transfer it to RxOne Pharmacy, I'm going to charge that into the account. Okay. And that's the amount that's going to charge to the account, $46. Now, if you go back to debtors, and we're going to bring up RxOne Pharmacy account. You will see that order today 2 aspirin and 6 Fixinate charged to the account. Okay. Right. Now, just pretend that I am at RxOne Pharmacy at the moment. I'm going to. So this is how the email RxOne Pharmacy going to get. They're going to get a file with the reference name and then the order number, which is the order number of the original pharmacy that I transfer stock from. So I'm just going to save this one into the computer. Right. Now I am at RxOne Pharmacy and I receive the stock sent to me. I don't want to type in every single item if there's a lot. I just go create order. Right. And if RxOne Pharmacy maybe have a supplier under your pharmacy name as well, so they can just select that. And instead of other option, they will choose transfer in, and then we will transfer in from file. Then you click the transfer file button, and then you can select the file you want to load in the order. Okay. That's the stock you receive from the other order, and you just gonna go okay, save from here, and you can see that actually the status of that order is a transfer in. You're just gonna acknowledge and deliver in your stock. So say if you're sitting there key in on the all the products, right? The other thing that I want to go through in order is, say it's normally for main wholesaler where you send your order through electronically. If they have some items that not in stock, they normally create, when you get the answer back, they will create an extra invoice for you, which is the back order invoice. So that's all done like sort of electronically for you, that's fine. But if it's a supplier that you actually order through email, you send them the file and they pack the stock. And when you receive the stock, you realize 3 out of how many items you order is not there. I'm just gonna use this one. Let's see. So just pretend that I may have to create another one. Sorry. Right. Just gonna create an order. It's easy to show you. Just want to show you how to receive part of the orders and also create an extra invoice for it as well. Because we got now that a lot of our pharmacies actually have zero integrated, they actually want each invoice received and next one to match what's going to go into zero, just for the accounting rules. Right. So if I'm going to do it like that. Just going to change this one to acknowledge. Oh, I have to do this because I changed it to acknowledge manually. Today is 12. So you send that order away, and when you receive stock, like, or they may short send you, or they may not have stock, something like that. So, and because it's not an electronic order, it doesn't, the answer back doesn't come back to you automatically. So you sort of have to do this manually. Say if they only send me 6 codeine, I can go and change it, go to the invoice and change the invoice quantity column to what they actually send me. When I go OK, it will ask me, do you want to place different in stock on back order? If you know that they're gonna resend you those ones, then you want to create another invoice for the back order one. Same if they didn't send me anything for the restock, because they're out of stock, then I can just put all of that in the back order. So this is the actual stock I received from them. I can now go and deliver this. So those will be added into my stock, and that will have an invoice number is 4567. Also, at the same time, you will have an invoice 4567B, which is a back order of the 4567 invoice, and that will be the leftover stock that you haven't actually received. So this is basically like you got to do it this way if you want your paperwork to be matching. Because sometimes when suppliers send the back order stock, they actually have a different invoice number for it instead of the same invoice number as the original order that they sent you. So you can just basically change that to match, and your record will be matching with the paper invoice. And if you have zero integration, it will match with zero records as well. Right. Okay. Do we have any question regarding ordering? No. Okay. Right. We can go a little bit through. We can go through a bit in reporting. There's a few reports that we can do. Okay, so in reports, I'm not sure if you there's a set regular report. If you want to do process report weekly or monthly, you can set that up as well. The other thing that we got asked a lot is NSS report. So that's NSS dispensing report. Basically, gonna report on all the script that you put through a dispensary as NSS. Now, a lot of auditors are asking for this report. you can, so from here you can set the the period that you want to report on. Sometimes if you want to narrow it down to just pharmacist dispensing NSS, you can select the prompt to select doctors instead of all doctors, or you can choose to select for a certain RxOne or a certain therapeutic group. Okay, so say if we just select all here, I'm not sure we have any here, but we'll try. So that will bring up on the dispensing that you've done in that period as NSS, and you can see the doctor's name on here as well, and the patient's name and what you dispense. Right, the other one is the restricted medicine dispensing report. So if I try and do it on January, we can select doctors, or we can choose to report on a certain medication only by clicking prompt select individual stock card. So this report is restricted med that has been put through in dispensary, not what you sell as pharmacists only through point of sale. So that's different kind of report here. I'm not sure what I have on my database, so I'm not going to take that. I'm just going to run all the take a while. So it depends on how many scripts you've done. It's gonna take a while to load. I didn't think that I had that many in here. Okay. Right, so basically it's gonna show all the detailed script number, the drugs, even the instructions, and the doctor's name down here as well, even with doctor's prescriber address and ID. So yeah, so that's a few reports that you can look at, because we got calls that auditors wanted these reports. Same from here, you can print or export as a file, save in your computer or email away. Okay. So, right. We have all of you use our consultation form on RxOne. You know, we can do the consultation form electronically now. I'll probably just quickly go through it. Okay, just going to use this. If I'm just going to have a patient, and then I'll go. So it's under utilities and open new consulting form. So we got this is the list of RxOne preload consultation form. So you can open the form. You can fill in the detail from here. You can print it, save it. It will save in the patient's profile event and audit. You can always bring up this form from the patient profile. So you can, if you have a computer in your console room, this is a very handy way. Save your print out paper and then file them away. And easy to look back as well. Just bring up that patient. If I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna save. Now I go back to that patient. Event audit today, again, determined room consultation. When you double click on that, it will load the form for you again. If for some reason I want to make some change here, I'll save it again. Did I actually save it?
Another forms, because sometimes we find another form.
It does save in the form as well, but it's also because the form basically just a PDF version of that form, the form and file tab. The event audit actually tell you the date, who did it as well. So we save it in 2 places actually. Yeah. Right. You can also create your own consultation form. It's take a bit of work. Victoria experienced that. But if you have certain forms that you use really often, you can always send it to us and we can load it up for you.
Yeah, likewise, if you've got any suggestions for forms as well, I'm happy to get them prepared for you, because generally we get suggestions from one person who goes, oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Can you print out just blank ones? Because we might find sometimes if it's a new patient, pull up the form, put it on the system, you've got to then enter them in and do it all that way.
Yeah. I think you can just actually the form is preloaded with patient name.
It is preloaded.
What you can do basically in the RxOne editor. So in RxOne editor,
Yes.
you can find consultancy
Only-
forms.
Yeah. The only problem is you won't be able to edit them because they're
No,
not
if you,
like-
yeah, so if you just, that's right. You're not allowed to, you can't edit them electronically, but you can print it out. You?
No, we'll print that screen.
Print what? A
Print that
screen.
I know because I tried it.
You tried it.
I will find out for you and see if there is a way for us to do a efficient link. I don't know how straightforward it is, but I will find out and let you guys know.
That's what
Can
you
I
can
just
do.
say, with the consultancy forms, I was trying to find them one weekend and we were sort of coming up on our computer, you know, they were coming up on the front screen, on the desktop screen or whatever. And it's really hard to sort of know what to look for. And I know now I can type in
Consult usually just, yeah. Once you know what to type.
Yeah, but how do you know that? You know, like there's lots of features that you're typing in there. I'm thinking, oh,
If you, okay. Yeah, so if you got a patient that you're gonna do that for, just go into that patient, utilities, open new consultant. Yeah, and it will lead you to that screen.
Alternatively, you can always press F1 for help and search it under that. I know that we've referenced it as consulting forms. If you type in the F1, that will take you to go as well.
Right. Well, I wonder if we can add a quick key like control something.
We can check.
Yeah. But yeah. Right. So that's the console form. What else do you want to cover?
Is there anything else that anybody wants us to run through or has any questions about?
So if you want to, say you, it's a flu season, you want to send out to all of your patients who've got their phone numbers in there. Can you do a message and send it to the whole of the database? Yeah, I guess we do it for a page, but if you want to do it, everybody.
Text message. Probably need to run a report. So if we go
It's no, drug reports and then drug distance history. I think that's what you
yeah, but that will be
choose.
that will report on the period that you do the scan for. Yeah. Yeah.
you can send bulk tests from a lot of reports, and going forward in the coming months, as we start to update all of the reports, you will be able to send more and more communications to your patient.
Text messaging is rather new. So we did add in a few reports, like the repeat deal report, or certain things like that, but it's not in all the reports.
It's not in all the reports just yet.
Yeah.
But we will be rolling it out shortly. There is a video on how to do text messaging online, which I'll send to you guys perhaps, just so you can get an idea of what it's going to look like. But yeah, one of the things you do have to be careful with in terms of texting and emailing your patients in bulk is around the legalities around how you can contact them. And we've actually set up a part of your patient where, because obviously you can't just contact your patients unless they've given you consent to. When it comes to sales, of course, you have by giving them, but when you process a prescription for them, they give you the details. They are therefore saying you can contact me if you need to with regards to a medical related inquiry. Food ads, I'm not entirely sure because you're technically selling a service, so I'm not sure what that falls under.
Yeah, but like we can run a drug history report, but you're gonna set the period as the past year, for example, because you want to contact the regular patient. So from that report, you can send bulk text message or bulk email. Just trying here. I'm not sure how long it's gonna load for me. So yeah, you can do that through, like, at the moment, just gonna set your report period a bit longer than a month or so. So make sure you cover on the patient that actually came to you in the last year. And if we just try, what am I doing now? I'm just gonna close up these. I'm still trying to load the report in the background. Let me just exit this. I know. Let me stop that report running because I just run a report for a year. Not fun. We just run a report, a repeat deal report just to show you how to send bulk text. You got a report, and so when you run a report, you got these. The patient got the mobile number, and make sure that phone number is actually in the mobile number view and not in the phone number view, because otherwise the system won't pick it up. Right, you can go send text messages. Okay, select the item. So I'm just going to highlight everything. Send text message. Now this is preload. The from in the pharmacy name is actually preload, so you don't have to type it in. You can type in your message in here, and maximum is 140 characters. That including the name. You can type And when you go review messages, actually, you're going to tell me that now. Okay, hang on, sorry. Just going to do this one. This one got phone number. Actually tell you that whoever that doesn't have a phone number. So that's, you can see that's a message going to come up with your pharmacy name. You can also load a text message template. So we got a few templates on here. You can create your own template by clicking new and just save it there. I'm just gonna go that one. I love that one. So this is a template I save, and that's a message going to be sent to your customer. And click send from here will send one message per phone number. So if you run a report for a script report, for example, in that this patient George Jackson got 3 scripts, it doesn't send 3 messages, only send 1. Yeah. And you can also run a report on the text message that you sent as well. In our upcoming updates, you will be able to see the text message response from the customer on the corner of your screen. It's going to pop up in the corner of your computer screen, say text message from such and such. And then you can click into RxOne message in here. You can see the message that the message history, as well as in patient's profile. It's all the message you send out and you receive reply from them. They're all going to go into patient events audit. That's where you can see them. That's coming though, not
Go into Jackson.
I haven't sent it though.
Yes, I have.
Oh, you have?
In the
Okay.
past.
Oh, okay.
If not, there is a text messaging video on YouTube which covers all of this. That looks really cool.
We're gonna have more YouTube videos
Yeah.
and small sections of how to do such and such. Like it's very handy, and it's always easy to actually watch it at your own time. You can pause and skip forward.
If there's anything you want us to go through on the videos, let us know. We'll prioritize them.
Yeah.
You can
So
see,
we got text message sent,
go into it.
show text message. So that's
Okay,
what
okay.
Victoria did. Test 1, 2, 3, sent on such and such day, and that's got a oh, you didn't have a
No,
response.
it'll be
Yeah.
in the other one.
So that's where it's saved on the text message sent and reply on text message.
Basically, there'll be another little box here. You see where you've got event date, text message, comment, email. See if there's a thing called TMR, which stands for text message reply. It'll be ticked, and you'll be able to see what you've sent your patient and what their response is. Okay.
Cool. So that's an exciting update that we're all looking forward to.
Yes. I jumped the gun and sent out what it looks like a little early.
Right.
Were there any other questions or anything else that you'd like us to go through? And what about anybody online that's still watching? Were there any questions? Feel free to just flick Jenny a message. We might just give you a couple of minutes just to perhaps have to think about that if you want to step out and refresh yourself, grab something to eat. And then we might just wrap it up, I think. There's some questions. Don't want to keep you longer than you've got one.
A quick question, like, you know, NHI patient will be typed it. Is there any way to skip it sometimes because of NHI is not loading?
You can turn off your NHI
It
lookup.
will turn off for every.
But it turns
turn
off
off
for
for the
every
whole
patient.
system.
Every patient.
Yeah. So your system won't ultimately look up for NHI anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes like it's died for 10 minutes, so we really type up each of the name.
You mean the NHI server was down or?
Yeah, NHI server is down. Everything else is fine. It's just
Okay.
when
Right.
NHI.
I'll show you where to turn it off in case NHI server is down. You don't want to waste your time. But once you turn it off, it's turned off for all patients, not just one. And so we go to options. So, when I need it, I can't find it.
It's there, switchboard.
Where's the switchboard? Not just been to
and
switchboard.
NHI.
Yeah. Okay. So that's an option switchboard and it's our web service enabled. You can disable it
We actually have it disabled
because we can't
we
connect
can't.
it.
We're not a real pharmacy, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. So that's the one. Okay.
Anybody have any other questions?
Isn't it possible with blister packs when they print out, like let's say the start date is Monday, obviously it goes from the bottom Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We have some patients who really like to have Monday at the top, for example, and go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
How can you do that?
All right. For those patients, firstly, you add them into a group, create a care facility, add them into a group, and printer setup, and foil packaging for advance. You always can call us for to set it because this is not easy to set. So the foil type, it's actually you've got a few different kind here, medical combo or even if I select medical reference, you can actually select for it to print date backwards or not. So if you have some patient want okay with that, some want the reverse way, put those in the care facility and select a different foil time for that care facility, how I show you at the beginning in the RxOne utility window. So whenever you run foil for that group, I will use the setting instead of the other setting. Anything else? Anyone else?
If you remember something later, just feel free to put me, any one of us out an email or a message. We'll be more than happy to come back to you. I think we've got all of your contact details, so and same with everybody online. So I think we might call that a night unless anybody has any last minute questions. Jenny, that you need from online. Cool. Look, thank you so much for joining us. It was a real pleasure to have you both physically all here as well as online. And yeah, we'll let you guys get home. There's more food out there. Sorry guys at home. We wish you could send you some snacks, but cool. Have a lovely evening, everybody. Guys, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Plenty of food out there, guys, so help yourselves.
Can I just ask about the text messaging? Yes. So I got a reply because we send out repeat reminders.
Yes.
So I got a reply and it just popped up and it's on, I couldn't see it on the dashboard, you know, on the home screen.
Okay.
And so it comes up with Devonport Pharmacy and it says that you've got one message that you haven't sent.
Okay, is that a little blue one at the bottom? Or?
Yeah, so it came up at the bottom, you know, like a notification.
Yes.
But I didn't have time to, I didn't read it.
Yes.
It's on my phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But then, you know, on the home screen,
Yes.
like we go to messaging, so
Yeah.
it has a little, it's got a one, no,
I'm sorry,
it's got a one next to the sunset. And if I click on it, nothing happens.
Okay,
So it's almost like you should be clicking on it and then the message should come up on the right